Here we go, day 2. Got a hole to climb out of. Oh, there's a fish. All right. Oh, he came off. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Hambone Fishing. Today we're going through day 2 of the Hobie Open on Lake Norman. I was exhausted. I woke up that morning and I really had to fight myself to actually go back out to the lake with kind of how disappointing day 1 was. Speaking of, if you haven't watched day 1, go back and watch it now. Watch it now. So day 2, there was a big cold front that came in overnight. I mean, it was a little bit colder than it had been on Saturday, but then overnight the temperature dropped a little bit farther. There was no sun at all during the day on Sunday, so it was just a really different bite. It was I had a really different mindset. Turns out I caught all my fish the exact same way, well, except for a drop shot, but again, it's very similar. I just kind of had that mindset. I was like, you know what, it's a day of fishing, let's just go do it. So I got out there. I wanted to go to a ramp that was a lot farther south. I knew a lot of the guys that fished well on day 1 went farther south and fished some of the cleaner water. So I figured I had one launch that I knew of that I could go south and probably get some bites at least. I went down there, water was clear, there was only 4 or 5 other kayaks there. I know that there were some people that didn't fish day 2 that fished day 1 and didn't do well, and they didn't see the point of fishing day 2. So I knew it'd be a little bit lighter on the lake. There weren't as many big boat tournaments either. So I said, why not? Went out there, fished, and you'll see. Another one. Not big. Oh, it's just got bigger. Of course. All year, while not tournament fishing, I've been wanting to go striper fishing or catch hybrids. And now, in a tournament, the only big fish I can seem to catch are these things. Another tank. Is a giant bass. This one's for real. Oh, it's a giant catfish. Giant catfish. It's a giant catfish. Are you kidding me? What is my deal right now? stupid. I should just go home. I should just go home. It is a giant channel cat. Look at the size of this catfish. Annoying. I wish I had my fish grips with me. Look at the size of this channel cat. Getting my stuff all slimed. Cool. Gotta retie this leader. Look at that. Ridiculous. On a drop shot, a little robo worm. Obviously, those species don't count. And like I said in the video, all winter I had been looking for a good hybrid or striper bite and didn't find one at all, even on Lake Norman. And during this tournament, I catch like 3 or 4 of them. And then that catfish bit a little robo worm, morning dawn robo worm. I just hammered it too. I'm sitting here having a quick morning, but no scoreable fish. $16.5, that's a good one. So finally got a scoreable fish. 16.5, that starts off pretty good, starts my day off pretty good. So I knew I had a long way to go. I needed a bag of probably 5 of those or bigger to really even cash a check. So that's where I was at, and I just kept rolling. Oh my God. Oh, that's a big largie. That is a toad. Oh, that is a monster. Oh my God. What a giant. That is a Lake Norman stud. Calm, cool, and collected. Look at that. 19 quarter. Come on, focus. Giant. Largie. See you. So that one really helps. That was like 19 and a half on that True South Custom Lures spinnerbait. I just threw it on, chucked it around a little bit. It was really second cast after I put it on. Stuck that 19 and a half. So yeah, that really helped. At that point I was like, all right, so I got a 16, a 19 and a half. So essentially I have my kicker fish already. And I knew I needed to round out a limit with 15 and above in order to really have a shot. I got close.
13 and a quarter. See ya.
Well, I had to cut some of that footage short because I'm trying to keep this channel pretty PG, and I said some things that were not PG after that. As you can probably assume, I lost so many fish this weekend that I just wanted to cry. And then, of course, every hybrid that I hooked it so well. For some, they just crushed the crankbait, and of course, you know, the fish that don't count just have no chance at coming off. And then I stuck that one on the drop shot. I just kind of was cruising along that dock line, and I saw something going on down there, and just flipped the drop shot down there, and it was a 13.5 incher. So I mean, I think at this point I was missing, that was my fish number 3, I believe, and I had the 16.5, the 19.5, and I think that was like a maybe that was a 15.5. I think that was the 15.5 or 15 incher that I caught. So then I just kind of kept rolling down that line of docks and got to the end and turned the corner, and then there was another kayak that was essentially in an area that I wanted to fish, and so I decided to leave him alone and kept going out to a longer point and picked up another fish. So it is what it is as far as that goes. That one was a 13, that was 13.5. So that really, I mean, it was a fish towards my limit, but it didn't really help me. This is a wonky bass.
Look at this guy. He's long though. $18 and a half. See it, fella. Get out of here.
So obviously that fish helped me quite a bit. That was an 18.5, which that fish actually moved me into 17th place. I looked at the leaderboard just to kind of see where I was at. If I was close, I was going to keep fishing hard. If not, then, you know, I probably would have just kind of relaxed a little bit. Anyway, that fish moved me to 17th, and I was, at that point, I was only 2 inches away from cashing a check. And I had 2 13-inch fish in my limit. So I thought, man, if I can get a 15 and a half, I might have a shot at cashing a check. I kept fishing, and it just didn't work out. I didn't catch another fish that day, and I knew that people were kind of sandbagging some fish. And I ended in 26th place out of, I think, 117 people, which isn't bad. Lake Wylie or Lake Norman isn't my greatest lake. I'll take it. You know, I ended up being about 6 inches out of the money, out of cashing a check. When you have 13.5-inch fish in your limit, you can't really expect to do very well in the tournament. So that's it. But here's a look at the fish that I caught this weekend, or on that Sunday. And I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. I'm looking forward to a great summer of fishing. Stay tuned. Thanks again. Hambone Fishing.